The top 10 places to visit on your Sturgis road trip include great motorcycle roads, national parks, and so much more outside of the rally and the bars and the typical things that make the viral YouTube videos. But this is the list that makes the ultimate road trip in Sturgis. Our first must-see spot in Sturgis is probably one of the most beautiful rides there, Needles Highway. Because it's so uniquely scenic, people talk more about that than the fact that it's actually really technical, kind of insane riding. I'd recommend trying to go well before or after the rally. I went during the rally and the road was super backed up with other riders. It was hard to go more than 20 miles per hour, but maybe that was for the best. To give you an idea of just how technical it is, the Tail of the Dragon has 318 curves in 11 miles. Needles has 314 curves in 17 miles, plus 3 pigtails and 14 switchbacks. Up until that point, I had never been on a pigtail other than a highway exit. It was intense. But despite the challenge, or rather because of the challenge, I'd still definitely recommend going there. The road is definitely worth the ride. Once you pass all the cool rock formations, it's a beautiful drive through forest, meadows, and rugged granite mountains. The whole road was carefully planned by former South Dakota Governor Peter Norbeck, who marked the entire road on foot and by horseback, finishing in 1922. The Custer State Park website recommends taking the drive starting at the southern entrance at the Legion Lake Lodge, where you can stay the night before, and driving north. That way, you save the scenic tunnels for the last half of your 1-hour ride, and finish off at the beautiful Sylvan Lake. Next, we have what some call one of the most scenic roads in the US, Iron Mountain Road. It's a 17-mile stretch in the Black Hills, and it's more than just a road. It's a historical work of art. Just like Needles, Iron Mountain is full of curves and switchbacks. It's roads like this and Needles Highway that make me realize how much the hype of roads like Tail of the Dragon is really just marketing. I mean, I get it. A sticker saying, "I slayed the needle," or the iron, doesn't quite have the same impact as "I slayed the dragon." Along the road, you'll discover architectural features called pigtail bridges. They are tight and narrow, so it's worth it to slow down just so you can look. Probably one of the coolest things about Iron Mountain Road is passing through one-lane tunnels through the mountains. These tunnels were built to showcase Mount Rushmore. So if you don't see it one way, check your rearview mirrors. Iron Mountain Road is sort of like a safari for Sturgis. It's not uncommon for traffic to have to stop for buffalo herd crossing, or even just to watch them. That's what happened to our group. In the area you can see antelope, deer, turkey, bighorn sheep, and even mountain lions. It's the perfect nature ride escape from the rally. The Badlands National Parks is one of the coolest sights I have ever seen. Well, California's Death Valley has some really cool ones too. But if you're in South Dakota, you have got to check this one out. And it's only about an hour east of the rally. Don't be scared off by the name. Badland is actually a geological term used to describe these desert terrains with colorful, soft, sedimentary rocks. Since it's a national park, just remember you do have to pay to get in. You can ride through the South Unit, a road that takes you along the perimeter of the park. Along this paved 2-lane road, you'll see these insane hills showing its millions of years in the layers of rock. Along the way, you can stop at the White River Visitor Center, as well as check out the Red Shirt Table Overlook. The ride takes about an hour one way. According to the National Park Service, the south unit of the park is entirely on tribal trust land, meaning the land there is held in trust by the federal government for the use and benefit of members of the Oglala Sioux tribe. If you want to read more about that and see a list of the associated tribes with the Badlands Parks, check out the National Park Service website. I'll link to down below. You can also drive through the Badlands Loop Road or Highway 240, which takes you past some amazing vistas, picnic areas, and overlooks. There, you can watch out for a whole bunch of wildlife. Other unique stops in the Badlands include the Fossil Preparation Lab and the Ben Rifle Visitor Center. Fossil preparation? I am definitely going there this year when I go to the rally. Another great place to go is the Sturgis Motorcycle Museum and Hall of Fame. Established in 2001, this donor-funded museum is home to an ever-growing variety of motorcycles dating back to 1907. You'll get to explore a huge selection of bikes, exhibits, and even learn about the history of the Sturgis Rally. There, you'll learn about the town of Sturgis, which was established in 1878 and named for Colonel Samuel Sturgis of the U.S. 7th Cavalry. In the early years, Sturgis was widely known as the key city of the Black Hills, where the most significant deposits of gold were discovered. In 1938, motorcycle enthusiast J.C. Pappy Hoyle got a few friends together for a weekend of friendly competition, picnicking, and a tour of the Black Hills. Today, the City of Sturgis Motorcycle Rally is known all around the world. Next up, we have Vinegar Canyon. One of our Motorcycle Destinations hosts called this the most underestimated road in the Black Hills. Vinegar Canyon starts in downtown Sturgis and is an 18.3-mile ride taking you into the town of Nemo. The road has long, sweeping turns, so this is definitely a good one if you're looking for an easier, leisurely ride that is still scenic and has lots to do. If you opt for the longer route, you can take the 80-mile loop that runs about 2 hours. You'll see the western side of Rapid City, travel Sheridan Lake Road, and also travel through the historic Deadwood. You could even stop at Wonderland Cave, where you can see the large variety of crystal formations in this easy-to-access cave. This road is typically relatively empty, making it a perfect escape from bustling Sturgis crowds. You'll enjoy wildlife, beautiful trees, vast South Dakota skies, and wide open highway. Once you head back into Nemo, you can reconnect with the biker community at one of the local fire station's famous breakfast cookouts. Bikers often gather here as a stop away from Sturgis, so you're sure to make a new friend or two while visiting. If all this traveling has made you hungry for a rest, Boar's Nest in Spearfish is definitely my recommendation. This restaurant is covered top to bottom in neon lights, reflecting the true electricity of the community that gathers here. Gaining popularity by word of mouth, hundreds of Sturgis visitors make a point to ride out to the little bar and restaurant. The bar has made its home out of an 1888 log cabin, remodeled into an outdoor restaurant. Original founder and owner J.D. Bell said he wanted to give bikers an oasis. And he must have done it right because according to Bell, his business more than doubles each year during the rally. If you visit during the rally, you'll be sure to find the parking lot jam-packed with bikes, and the atmosphere inside will definitely match. You'll also possibly see antique cars, sports cars, and people riding up on horses. It was an extremely fun experience there and definitely worth the trip. Just 13 miles from Sturgis, you can visit the historical town of Deadwood. This city is a Wild West town that looks like something out of a Hollywood movie, and it comes with a fascinating gold rush history. This town originated in 1876 by miners who were exploring the Black Hills. Practically overnight, the gold rush flooded newcomers into the area in the hopes of striking big, leading to a town full of gunslingers, outlaws, and gamblers. Historic legends like Wild Bill Hickok, Calamity Jane, and Seth Bullock were known to roam these streets. This town takes great pride in its history and has become a landmark of education and historical attraction. You can meet the legends walking the streets of present-day Deadwood as a part of Deadwood Alive, a theater troupe that reenacts historic events in the very saloons they occurred. You can also check out museums showcasing trains, mining history, and Wild West history. You can also visit modern-day casinos, resort hotels, full-service spas, breweries, and big-name concerts. Many people don't realize this, but Mount Rushmore is only about an hour south of the Sturgis Rally, and too iconic not to visit on your Sturgis road trip. The sculpture is carved into granite, portraying the faces of 4 United States presidents: George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln. It's 60 feet tall and sits on a mountain elevation of 5,700 feet. The carving was originally the idea of Don Robinson, an historian for the state of South Dakota. He wanted the sculpture to feature American West heroes, such as Lewis and Clark, their expedition guide Sacagawea, Oglala Lakota Chief Red Cloud, Buffalo Bill Cody, and Lakota Chief Crazy Horse. Remember that name, Crazy Horse, for later in this video. Mount Rushmore attracts more than 2 million visitors annually. Once there, you can walk the Presidential Trail, visit the Sculptor Studio, or visit the Lincoln Borglum Visitor Center. There is some controversy around the history of the monument, being that the sculpture was built on land that, in 1980, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that still belonged to the Sioux natives. The land dispute dates back to 1868, when the U.S. signed a treaty at Fort Laramie that set aside the Black Hills as part of the Great Sioux Reservation. But when gold was discovered in the hills a few years later, the floodgates opened, and the Fort Laramie Treaty was broken. After the 1980 ruling, an over $100 million settlement was offered in exchange for the land. But the natives wanted their land, which was holy to them. like Jerusalem to the Christians, and they did not accept the compensation. This is still unresolved to this day. Which brings us to our next location that some suspect has something to do with the story I just shared with you. Another beautiful place to visit, only about half an hour's ride from Mount Rushmore. This next stop is not without some controversy, and that's Crazy Horse Memorial. Crazy Horse was a Lakota war leader in the 1800s, but here's where the controversy comes in. He refused to have his picture taken. So some say he wouldn't love the idea of being immortalized in stone. Some say the land under the memorial is sacred and that building it is contrary to the Lakota's belief. This unfinished memorial is still a travel spot for thousands all around the world, including those in the native communities. It's privately funded, which means it's taking a while to complete. Although it wasn't built by natives, it was started in 1948, commissioned by a Lakota elder, Standing Bear, who said, "My fellow chiefs and I would like the white man to know the red man has great heroes too." History, like the present, is a place where nothing is perfect. We can all only do our best today and never stop learning and exploring history and each other. Another beautiful site near Sturgis is Bear Butte Mountain, located in southwest Meade. Bear Butte is a laccolith, which is formed when molten rock from the Earth's core spreads horizontally. The pressure creates dome-like shapes on the exterior of the Earth's crust. This unique natural formation is considered sacred to many indigenous people, including the Lakota, Dakota, and Nakota tribes. If you're seeing a pattern here with the area around Sturgis, you'd be right. South Dakota has one of the highest concentrations of natives in the US, with the Black Hills considered to be sacred to a variety of tribes. Many tribes make pilgrimages to leave offerings, pray, meditate, and hold various religious ceremonies at Bear Butte. In recent years, religious ceremonies held there have become interrupted by the construction of large amphitheaters playing loud music. If you stop by to visit the site, just try to be respectful. And now for the bonus stop, Prairie Emporium, an eclectic antique store located in Sturgis. The Emporium carries a large variety of antiques, furniture, art, and collectibles. You'll never know what Sturgis Rally artifacts you might find here. And since you're obviously a motorcyclist who loves a good road trip, be sure to check out the 10 supposedly scariest roads that are actually quite beautiful next.